mostly this week I've been sort of following up on the same stuff that I was doing last week, building some new prefabs for each of the new levels, but then also doing procedural decoration for the wilderness level, and then also the unmade hive, which I've been working on this week. I think that's new this week. I'd have to go back and check. Yeah, it's. I guess I would say it's mostly done at this point. I'll show each of those here in a minute. But mostly at this point, I just need to start playing through the entire game. I do have all the levels hooked up, so you can play them all back to back now. So yeah, I think I need to spend more time just sort of playing through the entire game, getting a sense of how it feels. Like, does every level feel like its own unique thing? Are they all decorated well enough? Does it feel like there are too many prefabs that you're seeing over and over in any of these levels? And that sort of thing. So the decoration part is pretty close to being done, unless I find more stuff that I want to add there. But there'll still be, new prefabs to design and that sort of stuff over the next couple of weeks. I do have the entire month of October scheduled for level design, so I have plenty of time left to to figure this stuff out. But yeah, once this month is over, it's going to be moving on to other stuff. So I do need to get that wrapped up in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, I guess I'll go over to the game here and show what I've been working on. Last week, I believe I had started working on the forest or the wilderness level, and I was showing some of the canopy stuff where it would have like the 2 layers of leaves. And what I've done this week is I've now placed trees and the silhouettes of distant trees as almost sort of like a 3rd layer of canopy there. So yeah, so these trees are being procedurally placed. The purple shapes in the background, sort of like the silhouettes of distant trees, those are procedural. And again, they follow similar sorts of rules to what I was talking about last week with the canopy. So they'll only appear in certain places. If there's like a ceiling of rock, like here, you won't see any trees. It's only where like the sky is exposed over here. You can see some leaves coming down. There would be opportunities for other things there, but yeah. So you can sort of get a sense of how that feels. It's, again, my goal with this sort of thing is to, I guess, recreate the same sorts of shapes and patterns that I would design by hand. And I feel like it's doing a pretty good job of that, as far as like how frequently trees are showing up. Like they don't show up all the time, but they do show up often enough that you don't feel like you miss them. Another one down there. And the rules for the way the trees appear those are randomized too. They can have like roots down at the bottom, they can have the little branches sort of stem out. So yeah, there's a few different variations of trees that you'll see there. I'm really happy with how this level's looking. I think it's probably the most visually interesting level in the game right now. This will be the 2nd level, probably. I don't know, I might randomize like the order of the levels a little bit, so you always start in the city and you always end in the hive, but maybe you'll go to the catacombs first and then the wilderness, maybe the wilderness first and the catacombs. I'm not sure yet. I guess I'll sort of play around with it and see what feels best. But yeah, so that's sort of how that's looking. That will probably be how that one ships, and I feel pretty good about it. The other one I've been doing this week is the unmade hive. This is sort of based on the last level from Gunmetal Arcadia 0. You find the hive where all the unmade monsters are coming from, and it's all creepy and weird and gross. So, yeah, what I'm doing here is similar to what I did in the wilderness, where I have the grass layer that appears on all the rock. There's this layer of, I guess it's supposed to be like skin or something that covers all the terrain in here. And then in the background there's this honeycomb pattern. And that one is similar to what I'm doing in the catacombs set, where I'm figuring out like where the bricks should look distressed. It's basically just, it's using Perlin noise with a threshold to decide like which cells are empty and which ones are filled in. And then it just sort of steps through it all, alternating which rows are shifted over a little bit, and then figuring out where it needs to place the end caps on each row. And, yeah, again, it sort of matches the way I would have placed these by hand in Gunmetal Arcadia 0. So I'm pretty happy with how this one's looking. This level needs a lot of work on the prefabs. Mostly it's still just the sort of bare bones set of prefabs that it needs to be able to generate anything. So there's a lot more I can do here, and probably this level too is where I'll start throwing in like instant death traps. So like pits of spikes and, well, lava isn't instant death, but there might be some of that here. And I've stubbed a few of those out, so maybe I'll run into those here, maybe not. But yeah, I'll probably be adding more of those over the next couple of weeks. And then something that I'm not sure whether this is going to tie into, this guy actually should not appear as a mini boss. I had it set up so he could appear as a mini boss just for testing, but normally you would only see this guy as the final boss of the game, maybe. I'm not sure yet where the faction bosses are going to show up. Anyway, I can just cheese him right now. What was I saying? Oh, the other thing that I've been thinking about, and I'm not sure whether this is going to be part of the work this month on levels, or I don't know, January, when I'm in that, like, do whatever I need to do to ship the game time. But I'll be figuring out, like, which enemies can show up in which levels. So right now, every enemy has an equal chance to appear in every level, and that's not, obviously that's not what I want. You know, the game should start where you see the easier versions of enemies. You might see the floating eyeballs that just fly around, and then you get the second level and maybe they start shooting pellets at you, and then the third level they start shooting homing bullets at you and that sort of thing. So there should be that sense of escalation throughout the game. Not only in level design, introducing elements like spike pits, but also with the enemies that you see. You know, if there are tougher versions of enemies, you should see them later in the game. So yeah, I'll be working on that as I figure out where that work belongs. The other thing that I've been doing this week, this is really exciting, it's something that I've been planning literally since day one, is the Wayfarer from You Have to Win the Game and Super Win the Game is now a playable character. I don't know yet what the conditions will be for unlocking this guy, but he is in the game now. He moves differently than everyone else. He moves exactly like he did in Super Win. He does have some new animations now because, like, he can attack, jump and attack, and throw bombs and stuff. But he starts with half a heart, so he dies in one hit. So this is going to be kind of the like the Lost from Binding of Isaac. It's the super hardcore mode character. If I enable legacy events, of course, I can also start with that extra shield as a sort of you know, consolation prize for having died previously. But yeah, so I wasn't sure if he should start with a melee weapon or not, but there's really no way to play this game without a melee weapon. So he starts with a dagger, which it's the fastest weapon in the game, but it's also super short range, and because of his size and because of the fact that he has no inertia on his movement, he has to get very close to enemies to do damage with the dagger, and that makes it very, very difficult to play as him. So yeah, my plan was always to make this guy be sort of the hardcore mode character, and I feel like it's working out pretty well already. And this is just from like one day of putting him in there. I really haven't done any sort of tuning yet. But hopefully once I have like more items and abilities, and there actually is a way to like power him up over time and actually gets, well, I mean, I can already do that with sub-weapons here, but yeah, as I start like working on new items and stuff next week, hopefully he'll actually become more of a viable character, because right now I do think it would be near impossible to finish the game with this guy, but who knows, we'll see. I don't know if I'm going to support wall jumping in this game. You know, that was of course one of his trademark moves. There will probably be a double jump. Yeah, I still need to fix that thing. There will probably be a double jump somewhere in this game, so I can at least get that aspect of Super Win in here. But I don't know if I'll do wall climbing yet. And of course I did add the ladder climbing animation. It sort of feels funny to see new animations for this guy after like spending, you know, a year or two working on Superman. Anyway, now I'm just having fun playing the game. So I'll go ahead and end this. But yeah, so that's what I've been working on this week. Probably going into next week, I will be just doing new prefabs mostly for the Hive and the City. I think those are the two levels that need the most right now. And maybe I'll, you know, like I said, figure out some of the stuff as far as like which levels enemies show up in. But yeah, I don't actually, I realize as I'm recording this, I don't know if I'm going to have a playable build ready to go this week or not. So if there's a playable build, you'll find that link below. I probably should have figured that out before I turned on the camera. But yeah, then, you know, I'll just be playing through the game and figuring out, you know, what now that I can play through an entire session, you know, see like, does the length feel right? Does the balance feel right? If not, you know, what can I do to fix that? So it's starting to become like a playable thing start to finish, and that's really exciting. As always, thanks for watching. This series is supported through Patreon. I want to give a shout out to patrons Jace, Benjamin, and Opa and Nana for their contributions. You can find the links to my Patreon campaign below. If there's a playable build this week, I'll put that link down there, so you can check that. But thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.